even if we leave out the fact that it is the Prime Minister's qualification, here what is at stake is a much larger issue of public interest. What the High Court, in a very disappointing order yesterday, has struck down the Central Information Commission's order, which was basically upholding people's right to know whether somebody has graduated or not. I mean, and this goes way beyond any one prime minister or any one official's degree, because not only has the High Court denied information related to Prime Minister Modi's degree in this particular case, but in fact has now set a precedent where nobody in this country will be able to ask for information about educational qualifications of anyone, doctors, pilots, anybody. And this is a huge blow, because just because the Prime Minister's degree information is involved, we cannot lose sight of the fact that a judgment like this is a setback for people's right to know. You know, there are questions that are bound to be raised. That did the Modi government push the Data Protection Act through Parliament with an amendment to the RTI Act so that this kind of a judgment could be given? I mean, right now, the law is not even operational. The rules have not been made. The law is not operational. And the court is now in its judgment relying on a law which is not even operational. So this is a very, very concerning thing. The Delhi High Court has really done a disservice to the right to information. We as citizens will, if this is used as precedence, will lose the right to access very important information that we might need in a country where corruption happens at every level.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Delhi High Court yesterday set aside a 2016 order of the Central Information Commission directing the Delhi University to disclose information regarding the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's bachelor degree, observing that it was personal information. Now, Justice Sachin Datta, pronouncing the order, allowed Delhi University's plea, which was filed in 2017 against the CIC order, which based on an application under the Right to Information Act by one Neeraj. He had sought an inspection of records of the students who had passed BA program in 1978, which is the year Modi is stated to have cleared the examination. Now, the judgment comes almost 6 months after the High Court had completed the hearing on February 27th and reserved the verdict. And it was a 175-page combined judgment where Justice Datta also set aside the CIC's order directing the CBSE to share class 10 and 12 records of BJP leader Smriti Irani to an RTI applicant, stating that there was no implicit public interest in respect of the information sought. He also observed that the mark sheets of the degree certificates or academic records of any individual, whether they are holder of public office or not, are in the nature of personal information. And what did Justice Datta say? And I'm going to quote, and that is very, very crucial. It is unambiguously clear that the marks obtained, grades, and answer sheets, etc., are in the nature of personal information and are protected under Section 81J of the RTI Act. I'm going to underline this, that this is under Section 81J of the RTI Act, subject to an assessment of overriding public interest. Now, this is an order which has been criticized a lot on the social media. I'm not going to go into the criticism, but this setback, this order is definitely a setback for the RTI campaigners who've been fighting for the RTI Act to be more aggressive, more emboldened, and to be made more robust. Joining me this evening is transparency activist Anjali Bharadwaj. Thank you so much, Anjali, for joining on HW. And while you join the show, I'm also going to show a tweet which you have have tweeted this evening. This tweet says that even before the Data Protection Act has been notified, it is being used to deny information related to PM Modi's degree. Is this why the RTI law was amended through the Data Protection Act, destroying people's right to know in the name of data protection? Now, that's a very, very important aspect. And on this particular issue, now, this is what Anjali has highlighted, and this is what does this say? The Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, which amended Section 81J of the RTI Act, though not yet notified, is a significant expression of legislative intent. The amended provision simply states that information which relates to personal information shall be exempt from disclosure, thereby eliminating the earlier qualification of unwarranted invasion of privacy and removing the discretion of the public information officer to disclose such information on the basis of perceived larger public interest. The legislative development underscores the evolving jurisprudence that places heightened value on informational privacy and affirms the sacrosanct nature of personal data. So let me come to the Delhi High Court order, which has been given with reference to Prime Minister Modi's degree, the educational qualification. What do you really make of this particular order, Anjali? And as a person who's been fighting for RTI for so long, what does this order really mean for you?
So, Neelu, let me start by first disclosing that I was one of the interveners in the case. And therefore, it's very important for me to place that on record. I was one of the interveners, and our intervention has not been allowed by the High Court, although the court has noted that the legal points that we made will be taken on board. So, having said that, let me come straight to what was the point in question, what was really considered in the Central Information Commission's order, and what the High Court has ruled on. He was asking for the list of all the students who graduated in the year 1978, the year in which Prime Minister Modi says on his election affidavit that he graduated from the Delhi University. Now, this is very different. He's not asking for Mr. Modi's name. He's not asking for the Prime Minister's personal details. He is asking simply for the list of people, of students who graduated in the year 1978. Now, at the face of it, one of the arguments that we all made in the High Court was that regularly universities in our country put out the list of students who successfully graduate. We all know that there are convocation ceremonies where anyone who graduates is given a degree in an open ceremony. The Delhi University itself does convocation ceremonies, which are in fact telecast. So there is nothing secret about it. There is nothing private about this ceremony. And this particular piece of information, simply saying that give me the list of those who graduated, was denied by the Delhi University. Neeraj Sharma was asking to inspect the list. When this information was denied, he approached the Central Information Commission, and the Central Information Commission, after a proper hearing, came to the conclusion that this is not secret information. This is not information that can be denied under Section 81J of the RTI Act. Section 81J deals with privacy. It protects anyone's personal information from unwarranted invasion of privacy. So Professor Acharyulu, who gave this order of the Central Information Commission, very clearly noted that this is information that should be provided. And let me also add here, Neelu, that this is information that is very important in public interest to be there in the public domain. We know that in our country, we have so many people who pretend to be doctors, who are quacks, who are fleecing people, and who people want to check. If you and I take our child for a surgery or to a doctor, it's very legitimate and it's in great public interest that we can actually check whether the doctor's claims of of having graduated are correct or not. We've seen the kind of scams that happen in our country, the Vyapam scam that happened, where fake degrees, people were getting degrees the fake way. It's very important in public interest for all of us to have this access to this kind of information.
There is another question, Anjali, altogether, that should a prime minister's educational qualification or his educational degree, can it become a private document? That is also a basic question which everybody is discussing on the social media. Because
Absolutely, Neelu.
we have the degrees of prime minister.
I'm also
Yes.
trying to say that even if we leave out the fact that it is the prime minister's qualification, here what is at stake is a much larger issue of public interest. What the High Court, in a very disappointing order yesterday, has struck down the Central Information Commission's order, which was basically upholding people's right to know whether somebody has
Yes.
graduated or not. I mean, and this goes way beyond any one prime minister or any one official's degree. Now, in this particular case, Mr. Modi has, in his election affidavit, stated that he graduated in the year 1978 from Delhi University, and then he went on to do a master's from Gujarat University. Now, the Supreme Court has held that it's very important for citizens, before they go to vote, to know the educational background of the candidates, to know the criminal and the financial background of the candidates. So, by that logic, should citizens also not be able to verify if what is written by the candidate is indeed correct or not? In fact, in the Supreme Court, there was a case that came up of an MLA from the Northeast where he was found to be lying on his election affidavit. He said he had got an MBA degree when he had done an MA degree. And the Supreme Court struck down his elections. He had won. The Supreme Court said it is not important whether you've done an MBA or an MA, but what is important is that you lied. And on that lie, on the basis of that lie, you have got elected. You misled people, misinformed people, and took their votes. So this is really important. The Prime Minister, in this particular case, people simply want to verify. I am not saying that when Neeraj Sharma filed the RTI application for the year 1978, it's very possible he simply wanted to verify whether Mr. Modi's name is there on the list or not. Because if you go to the Delhi University, nowhere does it say in our list of alumna, illustrious alumna, here is the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. It doesn't, nobody has come forward to say that they taught Mr. Modi in the Delhi University or that he was their classmate.
But Anjali, as an RTI campaigner, right, but as an RTI campaigner, does it not come as a big setback for you? Because it was the courts which upheld the right to information. The law was made. Look at what happened in the electoral bond case. They quoted the right to information. And here it's the same court. Of course, it's not the Supreme Court, but a Delhi High Court, which says that you don't have the right to know about a prime minister's educational degree. So what does one say about the attitude of the courts as well? Do you feel that, maybe it's under pressure that the courts have given this kind of an order? Have the courts really sidestepped the basic right of the citizen, as far as the right to know is concerned? What would you really say?
Neelu, this is a very, very disappointing judgment. And this actually, in a sense, really is a blow to people's right to information, because not only has the High Court denied information related to Prime Minister Modi's degree in this particular case, but in fact has now set a precedent where nobody in this country will be able to ask for information about educational qualifications of anyone, doctors, pilots, anybody. And this is a huge blow, because just because the Prime Minister's degree information is involved, we cannot lose sight of the fact that a judgment like this is a setback for people's right to know. And there is great public interest in people knowing this kind of information in the country about their elected representatives, but also about others. So this is a huge setback. And here I want to mention that what the court has said is that they have relied on the right to privacy. Now, here, it's very important to say that we all recognize that the right to information and the right to privacy are both fundamental rights of citizens. We never say that right to privacy is not important, but Section 81J of the RTI Act balances the right to information and the right to privacy. So the RTI Act Section 81J says that if there is any personal information which has nothing to do with public activity or interest, or causes an unwarranted invasion of the privacy of an individual, it will be denied. So already the balance is there. And there is a clause in the RTI Act which says that if a piece of information is more than 20 years old, the exemption will not apply. Here, the degree information is 1978. It's more than 20 years old. The privacy exemption should not have applied in the first place. Now, what has the court relied on? It's very interesting. The court has relied on a law which has not even been notified yet. So the Data Protection Act, the court has said it has been passed by the parliament, which is true. It was passed in 2023. But it has not been notified. It is still not in operation. But the court is going, this is a bizarre argument that the court has given. The court is saying because this law has got passed, there is legislative intent. So although the law is not operational, we still rely on the Data Protection Act to say that this kind of information should not be provided. I mean, this is so shocking. And therefore, these kind of things give credence to what you're saying, that people then start thinking that was it under pressure that the courts give these kind of judgments? Because, this is a law that is not operational. If somebody today denies us information because the Data Protection Act was brought in 2023 and it amends Section 81J of the RTI Act. It says that no personal information will be given to citizens. And this is something that people have been saying from day one, that was this brought in, this amendment to the RTI Act through the Data Protection Act, was it brought in to prevent disclosure of Prime Minister's degree information? And, these kind of things really give credence to these kind of doubts, where people are today saying that, look, we have been saying for a long time. In fact, we were saying that maybe this has nothing to do with it. But today, when it comes in the judgment, there are questions that are bound to be raised. That did the Modi government push the Data Protection Act through Parliament with an amendment to the RTI Act so that this kind of a judgment could be given? I mean, right now, the law is not even operational. The rules have not been made. The law is not operational. And the court is now in its judgment relying on a law which is not even operational. So this is a very, very concerning thing, Neelu, that is happening. And I am going to repeat this. Mr. Modi's degree is just one aspect of it. We as citizens are now going to be denied information about educational qualifications of everybody if this order becomes a precedence. And it is very dangerous. And what you quoted, that, it is being said that marks are personal, answer sheets are personal.
Yes.
Nobody asked for marks or answer sheets of Mr. Modi. Nobody asked for marks or answer sheets of anybody else. All that the applicant asked for is the list of people who passed, who graduated in the year 1978. And that is what has been denied. And that is what is truly, truly alarming, because I think that in a democracy, like the Supreme Court has held repeatedly, voters have a right to know. There is very strong public interest. You go to the Election Commission's website, Nidhi, and Neelu, and it has all the affidavits of candidates who are standing for elections. Why are these affidavits there? So that voters can know who they are voting for. Now today we are going to be told that I can on my election affidavit lie. I can say anything. I can say I studied from XYZ. Tomorrow somebody will just say I studied from
Yes.
Tomorrow somebody can say that I studied from XYZ university. It's not going to be something that we can verify. Verification, why is information important? It's important because verification can be done also by citizens, and by denying all this information, whether it is marks awarded or it is whether somebody graduated or not, this is a denial of people's fundamental right to know.
The it's obviously this is just not about Prime Minister Modi's degree, but is it a dangerous precedent that now the courts have also fallen into this trap? I'm not getting into the reasons why the court took such a stance, but does it indicate a dangerous precedent? And obviously the message, the larger message which everybody is discussing on the social media is that apparently Prime Minister Modi doesn't have a degree, and which is why these cover-ups are happening.
Nidhi, Nilu, this is something that will be, these are doubts that people have. And, when lack of transparency happens, these doubts really become deeper. We have been discussing many times on your show, Nilu, that importance of transparency of the right to information. If somebody is asking for the marks awarded to people, if somebody is asking for the graduation list of a certain batch or something, why should it be denied? Especially when the Delhi University till now in the past has been routinely making some of this information available. Now, even if marks were asked for of Mr. Modi, and the court says that there is some judgment, I'm bound by it, there is absolutely no reason to not give the list of those who have graduated. I mean, these are lists that are routinely put up, that are given out in most jurisdictions. Why should it be denied? And when information like this is denied suddenly and only for that year in which the prime minister graduated, then naturally these kind of questions and doubts that people have in their mind become very, very, entrenched. In fact, people start thinking that what we were doubting is in fact true. I really think, and I've said this, that the prime minister at this stage should intervene. He must say that the Delhi University comes under the central government and that we have no problem giving this kind of information. In fact, 1978, he can even direct the Delhi University that you can redact the names of other people if you think that privacy is going to be harmed. Give my name, my roll number, my marks, whatever is written in the graduation list, make it known to people. Let this controversy settle down. Because you see, when people were asking for the degree of the prime minister, two ministers, Mr. Amit Shah and at that time Mr. Arun Jaitley, came to the press, did a press conference and showed degrees.
Yes.
They showed the degree. Now, of course, there were some questions about the font of the degree and so on, which were raised, which that means that people were not satisfied. Now, you cannot tell people that we will not give you information. I mean, the Delhi University, which has so far, even now, if you go to the Delhi University website, there are names of people who've graduated that do exist on the website of the Delhi University. Why for 1978 it has become such a big secret? And, that's what I'm saying, that when these kind of things happen, it is very, very important that the public authority and the person in question say that, look, we are going to come out clean, so that all these doubts that are there, and he's not a small functionary, he's a very senior functionary in our country, there should be no scope for doubt. In fact, like I said, he should come forward and say, we are happy to show whatever it takes. If you and I have graduated from somewhere, Nilu, we are very happy, very proud to say that we've graduated from here. Here is our degree, and we'd be very happy to tell the university that please show our name, so that there is no controversy in the matter. So, I don't know if this
No,
will
but
be
Anjali,
challenged further.
do you see this kind of a stance being taken by the court as a deliberate measure? Because if Prime Minister Modi's degree cannot be made public, then obviously one cannot expect, things to happen with the smaller mortals, or the lesser mortals, if I may say. So does Prime Minister Modi's order on his degree by the Delhi High Court really means the death of the RTI era?
Nilu, I won't say the death of RTI era, but I think a big setback, because what we are seeing are two things. One is that why do people use the Right to Information Act? They use the Right to Information Act to seek
No, because anyways,
accountability
they have
of
shown
those who are in
significance.
power.
No, but Anjali,
They,
there have been several instances where the government doesn't seem to be interested at all in the RTI. And it almost seems that they want to get over with the law. It almost is a burden for them. So that is why I said
I,
that this other could be a precedent for that.
I agree with you. This sets a very bad precedence, and we are seeing already the kind of changes that are being brought to the RTI law, amendments that are being brought to the RTI law to weaken it, especially in the name of privacy and data protection, which is very dangerous. And which is what I was saying, Nilu, that people are interested in using the RTI Act to ensure accountability of those in power. If we can't do that, if people can't satisfy themselves that those who are in power are not lying, those who are in power are, their conduct is correct, then the right to information law starts losing its meaning. The second thing is that through this judgment, this again is saying that in the name of data protection and privacy, we are going to destroy people's right to information. That is very, very dangerous. We already saw how the Chief Election Commissioner, Mr. Gyanesh Kumar, in his recent press conference, relied on the privacy of women to say that we will not give CCTV footage of the electoral times. Now, if our CCTV footage of women is being taken, why is it that when people are asking for it for accountability, he's hiding behind mothers and daughters-in-law? He said, Bahu, betiyon and mataon ki privacy will be harmed. These kind of things really go against the spirit of democracy. Because in a democracy, people and their ability to hold those in power is supreme. And by invoking privacy in this manner, I'm again saying, Nilu, that we are all for the right to privacy. But if there is larger public interest, if right to information is, there is a larger public interest in giving information, privacy and data protection cannot be used to deny information. And unfortunately, through this, that is what finally has been done.
So, how would you summarize towards the end, Anjali, this particular order on Prime Minister Modi's education degree? If you have to summarize, and what must one look ahead now? Would you think that this order should be challenged in the Supreme Court? What if the Supreme Courts come down heavily? They restore the right to information. They make the degree public, and if at all it's found to be false, maybe Prime Minister Modi's Lok Sabha membership. I mean, that's something really which is far-fetched. But what should happen now as the next step?
So, Neelu, it is a very unfortunate order of the Delhi High Court which has come. It has denied very, very fundamental information and has very far-reaching consequences, way beyond the educational qualification of the Prime Minister of India. What was asked for was not the degree of the Prime Minister, but for the list of those who graduated in the year 1978 and their marks awarded or whatever, but not the degree. In this particular case, by upholding privacy over people's right to information, the Delhi High Court has really done a disservice to the right to information. We as citizens will, if this is used as precedence, will lose the right to access very important information that we might need in a country where corruption happens at every level. People need information about whoever claims to be a doctor, a pilot, all those important things. We will not be able to get information. It remains to be seen how this will be challenged. I think there will be a challenge in the High Court and probably in the Supreme Court. And I really do hope that the judiciary once again upholds people's right to information, like it has in the past, in the matter where it said that despite it being personal information, the educational qualification of those who stand for elections, candidates, must be made public. Their financial backgrounds must be made public, their assets and liabilities, their criminal backgrounds must be made public. Not only theirs, but also the financial backgrounds of their spouses and dependent children. So the Supreme Court has given very seminal orders in the past. Like you said, the electoral bonds case, the Supreme Court really put aside the privacy argument and said there is larger public interest in giving information. So I do hope that as the matter progresses in the judiciary, the courts will take this view and will uphold people's right to information and ensure that privacy arguments and data protection arguments are not misused to deny information to people, which is important to hold our public functionaries and those in power accountable.
Right. In fact, this was a single judge bench order, and now many lawyers have been saying that it might be referred to a double bench of the Delhi High Court, or it could go to Supreme Court. But the order specially needs to be challenged to restore the faith in the Right to Information Act and the right to know as far as the citizens are concerned. Thank you so much, Anjali, for joining on HW. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Neil.